I could hear the eerie sound of wind and rain. Where are we?
We're in the torture chamber, where someone's hand is getting bitten off.
Once again, I hazily regained my consciousness on top of the bed. The finger that the witch had bitten off
Grew back?
was attached to my hand. I'm a demon.
He's having terrible nightmares.
That's not to say that it was all an illusion. But my finger was now attached. After all, the pain and the teeth marks as though a witch had bitten it were still there. And yet, the window which I had supposedly smashed had been fixed, as though it had never been broken in the first place. How can I escape from this creepy room? Why am I locked up in this eerie room, all alone? I want to get out. I have to get out. Please, let me out. The door was sealed with a firm chain. I could open in a crack, but only enough to peek out into the corridor at best. Even getting just a fist through it would probably be hard. The window wouldn't budge either. It was no better than a barred prison window. The bathroom didn't even have a window. The only thing that could get out of there was the water that flowed out if you turned on the tap. No matter what I do, I can't think of a way out of here. While shut up in a place like this, I truly am a prisoner. Unless someone comes from the outside to save me, I won't be able to get out for all eternity.
This is definitely Butler, right? Don't shrug!
We don't have confirmation. It's just the assumption. In that case, can't I just call for help? Yes, the tiny gap I can make in the door must exist so that I can call for help. But can I make the words come out? Earlier I tried to call out for help, but for some reason, the words couldn't escape my mouth. Maybe I was just confused. I might have lost my voice in my haste and confusion.
Wait, was it his ring finger that was bitten? Is the teeth mark supposed to be
I think it was.
Is the teeth mark supposed to be like the witch's ring? Is it actually Erica who bit him?
Don't know. He said it was the witch.
But she is kind of a witch.
I'll open the door and make that crack appear one more time. The warm light of the hallway flowed in, making the darkness of the room stand out all the more. Though I couldn't hear any voices, I did feel something peaceful. I'm sure everyone's in the room at the other end of the hallway, chatting happily about something. If I can just call out, surely someone will come to save me. Holding back some indescribable fear, I tried yelling once more. But the result was the same. It was like trying to yell underwater. All I did was get out of breath, unable to call out in the slightest. Even though I could say as much as I wanted if I just grumbled to myself inside the room, whenever I tried to make my voice reach outside, I choked and was unable to say anything. I understand. My body isn't the only thing locked up in this eerie, closed room. My voice is, too. Thinking that I could use some other kind of sound to call for help, I tried opening and closing the door violently, making the chain rattle. It does sound as though it's clanking noisily, but it's surely no good. Even this sound is being locked inside this closed room. No matter how harsh a sound I make, I'm sure it'll be quieter than a leaf falling by the time it reaches the other end of the corridor. I tried using the hateful chain that sealed the door to make sound to call for someone, but that only deepened my despair. This chain. That's insane. Just a second ago, it was a stiff chain that looked like it might be used to seal a monster away. But at some point, it had transformed into a normal chain lock. This changes everything. Now I can just undo it from the inside. I tried to undo it, but the chain wasn't long enough for that, while the door was still open a crack, and I couldn't get it off. Obviously. Calm down. I gulped and calmly closed the door. Then, when I saw that the chain had slackened enough, I touched it with my finger to make sure. When I was little, I hated chains because I could never get them undone right. However, that was a long time ago.
What child is playing with chains?
Chain locks. Now, I can undo something like this. Anyone could. It's easy. I imagined the demon who'd locked me in this room using this as a trap to give me hope, just to make me despair even more. But I pushed those thoughts aside for the time being. I undid the chain lock. And the chain dangled there right before my eyes. Now, there's no lock sealing the door. Please, don't torment me anymore and just open normally. Slowly, the door opened. When I closed the door to undo the chain, the warm light from the hallway got cut off. If I open it again, what if that warm light is gone this time? I was even afraid of stuff like that. However, that was just me over-imagining things. Slowly, quickly. No, I guess this isn't normal for a door, as the door let out an annoying creak. The exit from this cursed closed room finally opened. I did it! I did it! Even my cry of joy was strangled. But that doesn't matter anymore. All that matters is that I can get out. I poked my head out and looked left and right down the corridor. The warm corridor. I could sense people having fun at the other end. Everyone's right there. Let's go, right now. Get. At that moment, something cold and heartless crushed my throat. It was as though an iron loop had been fastened around my neck and pulled on it hard from behind. No, not as though, without my knowing. At some point, a thick metal collar had been fastened around my neck. When did this happen? When I turned around, I despaired even more. Out from the inner side of the door I had just opened, a thick chain had extended, and attached itself to this collar I was wearing. I pulled on it, but it didn't even budge. When I shook it, the whole door creaked. What the hell? The chain that connected to my collar was attached to the inner side of the door. Yes, the same vanishing chain that had secured the door a short while back has suddenly become a chain holding me in place. That's insane. That's insane! Damn it, what's going on here? I pulled with all my strength, trying to tear the whole door off. But I already knew from repeated experiments that it wouldn't even budge. I'm sure this chain will disappear once I go back inside the room, but it'll never let me leave that room. Though it had apparently turned back into a normal chain lock, nothing had actually changed. The chain lock still bound me to that room. Tears flowing down my face, I pulled with all I had. It was completely useless. No matter what I did, I'd never tear it loose. And I wasn't even permitted to call out for help. I felt a confused anger at the demon, at how the demon had mercilessly made me think that I'd escaped for just an instant. But no matter how much I yelled, no voice came out, and no one on the other end of the corridor could hear me. Then, I noticed an odd stain on the wall of the corridor. It wasn't a stain. They were letters, traced out by a finger that had been covered in red paint. Those letters, which looked like they'd been drawn in blood, answered my biggest question. The chain lock must be set. You're allowed to unset it, but it must then be reset. Unless it is set, this exit of yours will be unusable. I instantly understood the meaning of that ominous message. Then I tried it out and understood completely. When I returned to the room and reset the chain lock, the collar around my neck disappeared. When I undid the chain lock again, that heavy feeling around my neck returned. In other words, I cannot leave this room while the chain lock is still unset. In that case, why don't I just set the chain while outside the room? I undid the chain one more time. The collar and the chain appeared around my neck again. I stepped out into the corridor and closed the door behind me, leaving only the slightest of cracks. I stuck my hand through that crack, grabbed the dangling chain, and tried to reset it somehow. Damn it! Even though it was so easy to do from the inside, why is it so hard to do from the outside? The gap needed to be wide if I wanted to manipulate the chain well. However, that made the chain too short to reach. To make the chain reach just a bit further, I'd have to close the door a little bit more. But if I do that, there won't be enough gap to fit my hand in. Of course, that was perfectly natural. Chain locks are made to be used from the inside. They'd be completely pointless if you could just set and unset them from the outside. That's why the length of the chain is specially chosen, to prevent anyone from setting or unsetting it from the outside. Then, can I use some kind of hard and thin tool? If the gap of the door is just a finger's width across, that's more than enough for the chain to reach. If I could just bend a wire hanger so that it fits through the crack, and work the chain with that. That's right, there's a closet just to the side of the door. Could there be some hangers in there? Found one! Oh, thank God. A single cheap-looking hanger, like one you might find in a laundry room, was hanging there. Really? I'm pretty sure that when I last looked a short while ago. Nothing like this was in the closet. Who cares? Quickly. I twisted the wire hanger, bending the end with the tip around. I formed a loop at the end to grab at things with, making for a sort of burglar's tool. I then dashed out into the corridor again and closed the door almost as far as it would go. My wrist could never pass through this. However, if I close it this much, the chain should have an extra length to spare. And this crack is large enough for me to stick the hanger through. Now it's just a matter of technique. If I keep trying, I'll definitely be able to do it eventually. I'm certain of it. It's harder than it looks, but the chain is long enough. It isn't impossible. I had finally gotten my hands on the one way to escape. It was hard, yes, but it was theoretically impossible. If it's possible, I'll be able to get out. I'll be able to escape from here. Which... At that moment, I felt a heavy weight on the far side of the door. It felt as though someone inside the room had pressed their forehead against the door and was drawing closer. And she, the witch, had laughed. Then I felt a powerful and strange force on the wire hanger. Is she trying to grab it away from me? Yeah, right. Like hell I'd let go. Like hell I'll let my one key out of here get stolen while my guard's down. Fortunately, I'd struck my wrist through, so that I wouldn't drop it if my hand got tired. You won't be able to snatch this out of my hands.
Oh no, his hand's gonna get eaten off.
The witch on the other side of the door laughed at me. Then I noticed something weird. I looked at my left hand, which I had pressed against the door to hold it in place, and between the fingers of that hand, I could see something red. They were red letters. I realized immediately. At some point in time, even more bloody letters had been drawn on the door, and my left hand had been covering them up. Still fighting against the vice-like strength of the witch beyond the door, I moved my left hand to the side. Where that hand had been, bloody letters had indeed been drawn. And there, as though someone had predicted that I'd struggle this way from the very beginning, was a message from the witch to me. It is impossible to set or unset the chain lock from the outside by any means. All tricks done from the corridor had been sealed by the red letters. No way. There was suddenly a terrible sound, and the force pulling on the hanger was suddenly released. Then, when I pulled it out and looked, I lost all hope, as though it had been bit by the acid of the room's darkness. The tip of the hanger had burnt and bubbled, and melted off. Now it's pitifully short. This can't be used for anything. It would be useless to search for the substitute. All schemes to set the chain from the outside have been prevented. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it! I threw the remnants of the wire hanger against the floor, faced the hallway filled with a warm light, and called for help. However, I just choked, unable to speak at all. Everyone's just down the corridor, and everything's peaceful there. I can't hear their voices, but I know. I'm sure they're all having a good time playing cards. Please, someone notice. Someone, save me. Hee. All laughs. Ah, gah. 3. Who's that?
What do you mean 3?
This time, it wasn't the witch's voice. It was the happy voices of everyone else, which I could hear coming from the other end of the hallway. Someone, come over here. And save me! Should have been more like, save me! Sorry, but I'm out. Already forgotten his voice.
George slammed his last card down, ending the game with his victory once again. Everybody gasped in unison. The cousin room was filled with laughter as they enjoyed their card game.
Whoa! So you really did have it, George Aniki. Damn you. Damn you, 6 of spades!
Your rate of diamonds were pretty nasty too, battler. Ah, I was so close. Ooh. You're incredible, George Onita. You won again.
Yep, looks like we've won again.
Maria couldn't really hold her own in an all-out battle, so she had teamed up with George, which was why she was celebrating his victory.
Utter defeat. Just like my love life.
Cannon winced and let his cards drop to the table. The game of sevens between Cannon and the cousins had been a fierce battle. Normally they would take things easy since Maria was there, so this sort of game was rare. Cannon had started taking the game seriously, unwilling to lose. So George and Battler had responded and the battle had grown fierce. Unlike Battler, who was carefree enough to enjoy it whether he won or lost, Cannon's mood changed drastically with every victory and defeat. It was less of a dislike for losing and more that he just wasn't used to playing. He wasn't used to trading a few wins and losses with his opponents, so he took even losses within a game seriously. Since he had resolved to win and had unfortunately challenged the veteran players George and Battler, the result was plain to see. As Cannon slumped his shoulders, Jessica slapped him on the back. Hey, you almost had it. I love fighting it all out like this.
Whether you go all out or not, if you just lose in the end, it's all pointless.
That's not true. If you really gave it your all, there's no reason to get all depressed when you lose. If you lost after hardly trying, then you'd be grumbling and complaining about how you would have won if you'd taken it seriously, right?
That's right. People who really give it their all never complain. They're always cheering no matter what the result is. You're right, and they can be scarier than anyone else.
Foreshadowing.
They always learn something from their experience and grow. Very true. I was a coward, so I could never learn anything. I see that I am still immature. I am furniture, So any dreams I might have are pointless, because he'd rigidly believe that I distanced myself from everything, shutting myself away.
However, during that same time, Shannon had undergone many life adventures. And now her hand was resting on the door separating furniture and humans. The old canon would only have seen this card game as a way to pass the time. However, the new canon was now capable of gaining something new from this experience. That's probably what it means to grow. Furniture is nothing but rot with the passage of time. The ability to grow is a privilege given only to humans. Thanks for playing with us. You probably had work to do, like filing in the log or filling in the log, right? I'm really glad you decided to hang out with us.
Don't worry about it. I had a lot of fun too. Or should I say that I've realized that this sort of thing is fun. Thanks for pushing so hard for me to come.
Look at her winking. Let's challenge ourselves more and more. And let's go and find more and more things you don't know about. By the way, about what we were talking about earlier, ever wanted to try playing guitar? Well, I don't want you to force you or anything, but...
It must be pretty difficult.
Yeah, I guess, but I'll do a good job teaching you, and I'll even practice with you. Well, I guess I'm not much of an expert myself. At first, Cannon was scared that he might make a complete fool of himself if he touched a musical instrument for the first time in his life. After all, he knew that screwing up like that would make him feel bad. However, Cannon was starting to learn.
It's only natural that I'll be bad when I first start. If I try to run away from it, I'll never learn a thing for all eternity. I'll never achieve anything. Yeah, you say that, but doing is different.
That's right. Isn't that why people love it when they feel themselves improving? Even I sucked at making my left and right hands move at the same time when I first started. But I slowly got the knack of it, and it started to feel more and more natural.
I'd like to reach that level too. If one path to that goal is playing music with you, milady, I would love to do that with you.
Really?
Yes. I'm sure I'll be horrible when I start, and I might even make you lose hope in me at times. But if I've given it my all, even messing up is no big deal. That's what I learned from you all just now.
You're embarrassing me.
I love you more than ever, milady, because I averted my eyes for so long, even though you shone like the sun. I never noticed you when you were right there next to me.
Damn, Cannon just busted out right then and there. No lead-ups. Then I'd better work even harder to make you love me even more. Cannon's serious and competitive words were more than enough to make Jessica shy. However, Cannon's expression unexpectedly clouded.
Milady, the reason I love you is so clear. Because of that, I can't bear not knowing.
Not knowing what?
Why did you start to like me? Unlike you, I don't shine in any sense. Even now, I'm just clinging to your back as you shine away. I can't think of any reason why you would love someone as shabby as me.
That's not true, okay? There are all kinds of good things about you, Cannon could.
Let me swallow my pride and ask, what about me made you like me, milady?
Cannon hung his head. Since he had never learned anything on his own, he had never been able to take the initiative with her in any way. The fact that he was accepting her affection one-sidedly, unable to do anything but simply receive it, made him sad and frustrated at himself. Jessica was lost for words. After all, compared to the reason that Cannon had started to love Jessica. Jessica's reason was a lot more vague. She had heard Shannon talking about her love with George, and at school she and her friends had always talked about relationships with boys. There would have been nothing strange about a girl, fascinated by the idea of romance, developing an interest in a nearby member of the opposite sex. However, if you put that into words, it might be misinterpreted to mean that any nearby boy would have done just as well. However, she could still be proud of the feelings she felt at this very instant. She really did love Cannon, and she truly wanted to experience romance. As a result, they might end up together, or they might not. However, if she reached that result without holding back, she could accept it no matter which it was. That's why she was able to become serious and honest about how she felt. However, she couldn't find the right words to tell Cannon this. When Cannon saw Jessica bite her lower lip in frustration, he finally realized.
I'm such a fool.
Huh?
What about me do you like? That very question is foolish. It's proof that I'm not serious about myself, and that I haven't been able to understand even myself. It's horrible of me to try and make you say it for me.
That's not true. After all, it's the first question any girl would like to ask after being given a love confession. What part of me do you like?
It was immature of me to ask you that. How could anyone love someone so immature?
Wait, that's not... Jessica panicked, trying desperately to explain how she felt. However, Cannon was calm, and then he spoke.
In that case, I want you to love me. The way I already love you. I've decided to start changing myself so that can happen. I can hardly imagine that you would love me as I am, but someday, no matter what.
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure you'll become a wonderful person, Cannon-kun. A guy so cool that I can't keep my eyes off you. Until then, I'll stick by you all the way. We have plenty of time.
But unfortunately, there isn't that much time left.
What do you mean?
It usually saddens you when I talk about furniture. However, this is something I must tell you, and it is also something I must fight for with all my soul.
What are you talking about? I don't want to hear any more of that I am furniture so I can't fall in love talk. You're a human, not furniture.
Yes, I would like to become human. However, I am still furniture.
In that case, just do it. Become human.
The witch taught me once about the single element of this world. According to her, it's love. It's something that humans born into this world can take for granted. However, it is not something that those not from this world, who are born as furniture, can take for granted. In order to gain it for themselves, they must have magic or a miracle. In just the same way that Nair-san and George Summer would never have ended up as they have without borrowing the power of that golden butterfly brooch.
I don't really get that last part. What don't you understand? Let me hear it. Since this game began, a large portion of the time has been spent on Shannon and Cannon's determination to fall in love. I've got no problem interpreting that as a story of growth and teenage determination for a girl and a boy who call themselves furniture. But one of the assumptions they make feels really out of place to me. Why is magic necessary? Is that it? Both Shannon and Cannon call themselves furniture. They've always claimed that there can't be love between furniture and humans. At that point, the magic of the golden butterfly brooch comes into play. And as the miraculous result of its magic, love is established between Shannon and George or Nii-chan. That's what they claim. Might it mean merely that forbidden love between people of different classes would be unmanageable without a miracle of magic? True. I can accept that Shannon and Cannon, who are servants in forbidden love with members of the family, are suffering for it, might debase themselves by calling themselves furniture. Then what is it that you cannot accept? Without borrowing the power of magic once more, marriage will be impossible. That seems to be a common understanding between Shannon and Cannon. I just can't understand that part. After meeting in secret for quite some time, George and Shannon had finally gotten engaged. Both were fully prepared for it emotionally, and though there would be some trouble with the relatives, it would probably be impossible for anybody to prevent their marriage by this point. Trying to stand between two who wish to be wed is as foolish as standing in front of an arrow and trying to catch it. Exactly. Now that George Oni-chan has sworn to protect his lover for the rest of their lives, he has no need to fear opposition and disinheritance from his parents. On the contrary, you might even consider that a perfect test of his love for her. Or in other words, they will be married no matter what. No one can stop them. And they've both consented to the engagement. No one can stop them or impede them. Trying to break apart lovers is a foolhardy adventure. Yeah, and that's what's strange. There's no need for magic. If George and Shannon had wanted Ava's approval for their engagement, then magic might really have been necessary. After all, Ava had forbidden his relationship with her. No matter how much George spoke on Shannon's behalf, the chances of Ava being convinced were very near zero. If that were the case, it would be understandable if they wanted a magical miracle to make Ava acknowledge that engagement. However, George Oni-chan has already made an oath. He doesn't care whether his parents approve of the engagement or not. Yeah, there's nothing standing in the way of their engagement. And Shannon should know that well herself. So why is it now that on this night where the proposal went so smoothly, she's still praying for a miracle of magic? According to the furniture, she won't even have the right to marry without such a miracle. And there you go. It means that Shannon has accepted George's proposal, but she knows that there's still some kind of barrier that can't be overcome without a magical miracle. And that barrier isn't something that they can overcome by their own efforts. That's why they need this miracle called magic. Why do they need magic? If two people love each other, what other miracle could they possibly need to be together? I see. Featherine listened to Angie's interpretation, smiling in a satisfied way. Apparently, she had already reached the conclusion and enjoyed watching Angie finally manage to do the same. And that same question applies to Cannon as well. The love between him and Jessica One-chan has just begun, but their emotions are pure. There's nothing standing in their way. They're already in a loving relationship, even without the golden butterfly brooch. The relationship they've started might easily last for years, eventually resulting in marriage. There's nothing standing in their way either. As long as they don't seek approval from Kraus and Natsuhi, it seems that they will not need a magical miracle either. Exactly. Cannon watched how Shannon lived and changed his own way of life. Then he let his true feelings be known and started a relationship with Jessica One-chan. There's no need for magic anymore. If it were a one-sided love, then he might need a love charm or something, but their feelings are already mutual. They've already communicated their intentions to one another. So why do they still need a magical miracle? Both furniture were in relationships of mutual love. There shouldn't have been any need for a miracle any longer. So why do they still desire some miracle? And on top of that, the single brooch was portrayed as bestowing only a single miracle. It felt almost as though Shannon was hesitating because if she used up that miracle for herself, Cannon's chances at love would be automatically sealed away for eternity. So this is the question. Why is furniture not allowed to love? So, you ask why love will not be permitted without the miracle known as magic. And also, though the furniture laments with such certainty that they're unable to love, this golden butterfly brooch is supposed to give them permission to do it. Just what on earth is it? Of course, it is a crystallization of magic. However, like most magics, it can be burnt by the anti-magic toxin. So, it can only have an effect for those who believe in magic and witches. Correct. So, Shannon, who was capable of interacting with me, was able to make use of its benefits. However, if Shannon had dropped it on a sandy beach and someone who knew nothing picked it up, if that person was shrouded in the anti-magic toxin, they wouldn't be able to make use of the brooch's magic power. Precisely. A witch's magical items often lose their power if they are not handed over directly. However, just as how a witch can manifest herself if her existence is acknowledged by a great many humans and the anti-magic toxin disappears, the power of that magical item can also be preserved if it is believed in by a great many humans. That's ironic. No matter what kind of magic we witches give out, everything depends on whether the human we give it to can accept it. I have heard the same goes for medicine. Even with the exact same medicine, humans who know of the medicine's effects experience it to a greater degree. Oh, I think I understand. When taking cold medicine, I've gotten the feeling that it's more effective when you read the description on the bottle.
Is that everything?
I don't know, I'm guessing. As she listened, Beato thought that magic sounded a bit like a ritual. When most humans think of magic, they think of incredible miracles being performed one after another in front of a crowd of other humans. However, this true magic that the older sister spoke of sounded almost like a ritual, something that has no effect if the person using it doesn't believe. Shannon's heart was captured by George bit by bit as he grew by leaps and bounds. However, she had given up, thinking that one of a different class such as herself, would never find love with him. That was when Beatrice had given her the golden butterfly brooch and encouraged her. Giving up means that you've got zero chance of success. However, if the power of magic makes you think that there might be some chance of your wish coming true, then the odds of it happening are at least greater than zero. Zero remains zero forever, so miracle is a fitting word to describe even a faint chance of coming into existence. Humans can use magic to defeat resignation, the process by which they themselves make their probability of success zero. When a human refuses to give up, though their chances of success may be small, those chances do exist. And the more determined they become, the greater their odds rise. It was easy to imagine Shannon making earnest wishes upon that brooch, believing in its effects, and trying little things over and over again to get George to like her. The power of belief becomes magic, and those who make others believe are witches. Those who make others believe are witches. That's an interesting way to put it. If you think about it, it's true. Let's say a witch steps out into a spotlight, waves her staff in front of a crowd of onlookers, and makes a rabbit appear out of thin air. The many people who will see it will surely assume it to be a sleight of hand. They might wonder at how it was accomplished, but they'll surely say that it couldn't have been real magic. And when they applaud, it will be for a splendid trick that only appeared to be magic. But what if someone performed a sacred ceremony inside a great ancient temple in front of a crowd of believers, and ended up with the exact same result? Would any of the people there think it was sleight of hand? In fact, in the ancient past, when magic tricks as a form of entertainment didn't even exist, and the divine spirits were worshipped, this would doubtlessly have been a miracle of magic. In that case, could this here be magic? Aha! Well now, what will be the first spell performed by the witch unable to use magic? Here, I have an empty teacup. There is nothing inside it. Yes, it is empty. And then you take it, turn it like this, and place it upside down on the table. And then what next? Let's both close our eyes and chant the incantation. It was the same magic that had been used to give Maria candies. Beato the elder grinned and closed her eyes. When she saw this, Beato slowly chanted the incantation. Come, try to remember. What was inside the cup? Indeed, come, try to remember. What was inside the cup? As she chanted, Beato slowly opened her eyes and made sure that the older sister was repeating her with her eyes closed. Then a single golden butterfly appeared out of nowhere, fluttered down onto the overturned cup, and scattered away in a golden splash. May I open my eyes now? Yes. Please open your eyes and inspect the contents of the cup. Well now, let us see how well your first bit of magic has performed. Taking her time and dragging out the suspense a little, the older sister lifted up the cup. Aha! How is it? When the cup was lifted up, there lay a single golden rose petal. Does this count as magic? Yes, it does. You used magic to create a golden flower petal inside an overturned cup.
I don't remember this.
No, I don't remember gold. You don't remember this at all?
I don't remember her using gold here.
I don't remember, gold. This is the first time we've seen gold text, right?
No.
What? No?
Battler used it at the end of 5. He was like, I guarantee that this corpse was Kinzo's or something like that.
And it's irrefutably denied facts?
Virgilia, was it Virgilia? Someone said that gold truth is kind of on the same level as red. Sometimes it's stronger and sometimes it's weaker.
Why does it exist? Does it have an actual purpose?
Surely it has a purpose that
Well,
is
but
there.
if it's on the same level as red, why not just
Sometimes
use red?
weaker and sometimes stronger.
Okay. It was a splendid bit of magic.
No, I was keeping it there for me, not you.
Oh, I was like, come on! Without love, it cannot be seen. That much I understand. It may be viewed as a trick. It may also be believed to be magic. It all depends upon the toxin of the individual. Then again, while this can explain some of the magic that's been used in the past, it can't explain everything. To get back to the point, all this stuff about believing in magic and rituals, it doesn't answer the question, what was this golden butterfly brooch, which allowed the furniture who strongly believed that they could not love to finally find love? If we blindly accept the story of those two Beatos as true, might we assume that magic had the power to cancel out their feelings of resignation? Why mustn't furniture fall in love? Why is the power of the magic brooch necessary? Yes, it does seem at a glance as though what you and the Beatos are saying provides an answer, though a vague one. However, let me say this as a reader. I can't accept this as you presented it. You cannot accept it, you say? The tragedy those furniture are struggling to resist is way too big to be explained away by that. I doubt they could reform their way of thinking just because they were given some charm for making relationships. It's true that the brooch gave Shannon the chance she needed to get together with George or Nii-chan, but sometime after that she said she wanted to deepen their relationship without borrowing the power of the magic, and she even tried to give the brooch back to Beato. At that point, she supposedly rejected the miracle of magic for a time. So why would that power be necessary again? Well now, perhaps there is no way to say it except that love and marriage are very different things. Featherine laughed lightly. She had probably formed a theory of her own and was laughing at Auntie, who hadn't reached it yet. Let me hear it. What's your view? I'd like to keep that to myself just a while longer. And of course, watching you form doubts and let your mind erase is one of the joys of being read aloud to. If I gave you my views, you would accept them and stop thinking. Then having you read aloud would be no fun. So you're having me read a mystery novel you already know the answer to, just so you can enjoy watching me blunder about? Well, I am the witch of theatre going. If you wish to laugh at my bad tastes, please do not hold back, my Miko. Wah ha ha ha. I understand that part of magic is created by a believing heart, and that magic probably permeates deep into the world of us humans as well. However, though it permeates so far, the power that dwells within magic is small. Lots of people visit shrines to pray for success on tests. However, people rarely credit such a visit as the reason for their success. By itself, praying does little more than give one peace of mind. In love, where even a small chance and a little bit of courage can result in major changes, this power can sometimes bring about incredible transformations. However, would something like that really be enough to change the insurmountable fate of furniture? In the past, when Shannon and George were brought together... In the past, when Shannon and George were brought together, I imagined that the brooch's magical power functioned as little more than a ritualistic charm. However, by now, the magical power that the furniture seek from that brooch, it's not something as vague as a ritual. It feels much stronger, like a whole different interpretation of magic. If you believe in a sleight of hand, it becomes magic. But that's no more than a child's trick, and that only explains one part of magic. They are hoping for something. They're hoping for something with much, much more power. For true magic, not a sleight of hand. So then
It's just slow.
Just what kind of magic is the furniture expecting from that brooch? A golden butterfly brooch?
There exists a magic charm that the Golden Witch Beatrice gave to Shannon in exchange for smashing a mirror, and which made her love bear fruit. That's what this is.
From his pocket, Cannon pulled a single wing from a golden butterfly. Though it was a single wing, it was easy to tell from its shape that it had originally been part of something with the butterfly motif.
The magic of this brooch gave Shannon the chance she needed to start her relationship with George Summer. However, before that magic was fully realized, she left it to me. So, thanks to the power of this brooch, I gained your affection, milady.
That's not true! I started liking you because of my own honest feelings.
Thank you very much. You are human, So you do not believe in witches or magic. It's only natural.
That just disregards and stomps all over her feelings.
However, as furniture created by magic, my very existence here is proof that the miracle of magic exists.
Sorry, what are you talking about? Jessica tried to make sense of Cannon's words. However, she couldn't understand. I had to ask him to repeat it, wearing a stiff smile.
Both Shannon and I need magic to succeed in love. The key for that is this brooch. Every time. I stepped on it and crushed it, so we each have one part now.
The brooch had lost its power when it was split in half. However, if it was ever joined together again, its magic would be revived. It would revive the miraculous power that could join furniture and a human together. So that's why they sort of think it's like only one can succeed. Because they want to join the brooch together.
However, a single brooch can only grant one person's wish. Only one of us, furniture, can be joined by this single brooch.
That was the final seed of love, a spark of love which the old, shrilly laughing Beatrice had sown. The old Beatrice had said that humans tormented by this spark were like ripe fruit, which she crudely used for her own enjoyment. However, the magic infused within this seed was real. It was the only crystallization of magic that the golden witch Beatrice ever left in this world. Its glint increased. What the?
It's okay, but please, don't look right at it. It'll blind you.
The glint grew even stronger, shining like the sun. Even without Cannon's warning, Jessica wouldn't have been able to stop herself from covering her eyes with her hands. I'm blind! As the light grew stronger, a sound like the roar of the wind or the tide also grew in intensity. The sound of the wind and rain outside had already been overwhelmed. Jessica could no longer even stand, and she crouched on the floor. A flood of sound and light. Until it withdrew, Jessica could do nothing but moan.
What is this? It's
I don't know.
LSD.
Oh my goodness. Wait, is that a chapter?
That's the chapter.
That's a chapter.
Made it through.
To be continued next time on Umineko no Koro.
Next year.
No, don't say that.